The enduring psychology of slavery in a modern economy. Slavery, in its most traditional sense, is widely believed to belong to the past. An atrocity abolished, a system dismantled, a chapter closed. Yet the psychology that fueled it never truly vanished. It evolved. It refined itself. It slipped quietly into the cultural bloodstream of modern economies, reshaping itself into systems of labor, wealth, and class that echo the same dynamics of ownership and dependency. Today, the chains are not iron. They are economic, social, and psychological. The forms look different, but the mechanisms are hauntingly familiar. Throughout history, freedom has always been tied to one core factor: the ability to survive without bending to the will of another. Those who possess more resources than they will ever need experience a level of autonomy inaccessible to the majority. They do not trade their time for survival. They do not perform labor to meet their basic needs. Every chore, every task, every inconvenience can be delegated to someone else. Their lives are not shaped by obedience or necessity, but by preference. This separation creates a new form of free person, one whose independence is guaranteed not by rights or law, but by wealth. This imbalance simultaneously requires a complementary class, those whose survival depends on serving the needs of others. Poverty, then, becomes more than a social ill. It becomes a commodity. The existence of economically desperate people ensures that undesirable labor remains cheap and available. Someone must scrub the floors, harvest the crops, assemble the goods, and maintain the comforts of the wealthy. Without a class forced into relentless labor by the demands of survival, luxury collapses. The more desperate people are, the lower their price in the labor market. In systems where wealth is concentrated at the top, poverty is not a flaw. It is a feature. What has changed is ownership. Individuals once owned people. Now, an entire economic class owns the labor of another through structural necessity. A person may no longer be chained to a single master, but they are still bound by the expectations and pressures of a system built to extract their labor. They rise each morning to give the majority of their time, energy, and creativity to businesses, corporations, and institutions that do not see them as people, but as function and productivity. These workers, assured of their freedom, rarely recognize the constraints around them, because modern society offers choices within confinement. They may choose their employer, their city, or their field. The illusion of variety becomes proof of autonomy. Money becomes the mask. It functions as a psychological tool that convinces people they are enslaved only to currency, not to the owners of capital who control its distribution. The pursuit of money becomes synonymous with freedom, even though the pursuit itself is often the mechanism of bondage. Workers believe they are serving their own financial goals, unaware that their dependence is precisely what the system requires to sustain itself. And money is not the only mechanism of control. Social norms, debt, fear of unemployment, shrinking safety nets, and the rising cost of basic necessities all tighten the invisible collar. People remain free in name, but constrained in practice. Enslavement no longer requires force. It only requires the absence of alternative. Modern slavery is not defined by chains, but by necessity. It persists not because individuals seek to dominate others, but because systems built on inequality cannot function without a class of individuals whose labor is both essential and undercompensated. As long as vast wealth remains concentrated in the hands of a few, the many will continue to serve, not always knowingly, not always willingly, but inevitably. The psychology has not changed. Only the aesthetics have.